This week, I feel like a failure. And the reason that I feel that way is because I set out to make this video painting this unit that I really, really like for Warmachine. And the whole reason that I was going to paint it was because I got the core rulebook and he's in the core rulebook, and I thought I'm going to do a video on the core rulebook and paint a model from it. And then I failed because I didn't finish the model. But I didn't finish the model because, well, because I want to be better at painting. So let's talk about it. I have been really into Warmachine ever since I learned of its existence, which sadly was not that long ago. Okay, and it pulled me in because I thought, oh man, they're 3D printing their models, and I thought, I have a 3D printer, I can actually play a war game now. And then I learned that it wasn't the case, and they weren't 3D printing their models, they were just selling 3D printed models. And I was sad. But then they sold their Warmachine to Steamforged Games, and guess what? Steamforged Games started letting you 3D print their models. Crazy, right? Anyway, I was already sucked in. They got me. They trapped me. They did what they needed to do. And I have really, really liked getting into Warmachine, painting the models, learning about the world, which honestly was kind of a struggle for me because I felt like there wasn't a good place to just find the lore. I am not the kind of person that wants to sit down and read 30 books. I want to get a gist of the lore.
Just a little bit.
And then if I feel like I like that gist, I'll start looking into things that I really want to know more about. And so I feel like there wasn't a very good like summary anywhere that I could find. And then lo and behold, this baby came out and it changed all that for me. And after looking at this rulebook, I got to admit that I like Warmachine even more than I did before. Now, with that being said, I want to be a good painter. I want to be an incredible painter. And so in order to do that, I have to paint. I have to keep painting, which is why every week I'm putting painting into my videos, whether I finish things or not. And today is one of those or nots. But I started painting, and I started painting this solo character from the K-Door starter box. And I feel like I gotta say this really fast. One of the incredible things that Steamforged Games is doing right now is that they have all these armies. They have all the factions. Every faction has 2 armies or will have 2 armies before they move on to other things. Okay, and all those factions are in that freaking rulebook, which is awesome, and you can read about them. And yeah, anyway, they are doing starter boxes for each army, and they come with like a 30-point group. And just so you know, a full-on army in this game is about 100 points, 75 to 100 points, right? So a 30-point army, nice little way to start out, and they're relatively cheap. You can get them in a 2-player starter box, or just a 2-player box, I guess they're calling them, where it's 2 separate factions, like in the case of the one I'm talking about today, which is K-Door and Signar, which is, I mean, they are the core factions from Warmachine. So it's a great place to start. And so I started painting this guy. No, he's not the traditional K-Door colors, but I really like K-Door in green. Alrighty, let's get this all kind of started out. This is the model that we are going to be painting today. As you can see, I've already kind of started just to make sure I'm happy with the colors, and I am. So let's keep going. First things first, I hit it with a base coat of Crix Green from P3 Paints, and it's such a nice, cool, just dark green. Like you can barely tell it's on there, but you can, especially when it's not on this camera that distorts all my light. And then we went from Crix Green to Ordic Olive. And at first I was upgrading it to Bog Moss, which you can do if you like. You can see here, here's the difference. This is the Bog Moss. And then I started trying this guy out, the Sickly Skin, as my high point, and I like that a lot more because I feel like it brings out a more metallic like sheen, and so that's kind of what I went with to make this. But this is my transition from my base coat up to that light point, so let's go ahead and get started. So many of you probably haven't seen this before, but this is the new Warmachine core rulebook, okay, that they have up on their website right now. And I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but I just kind of want to show you what I really like about this. First thing, to get out of the way, honestly, the only thing I'm not a huge fan of is that it's just not super big. Okay, it's relatively thin for a core rulebook, but it has everything that I wanted in it. Okay, and just kind of what I mean by that is, first off, I mean, come on, right? Full on art, front and back. It's fantastic. Gotta love the grave diggers. Anyway, so great artwork all throughout it. Awesome forward from Matt, and the contents are super easy. When you're looking for rules and stuff like that, you can go through that. It's super easy. It's all there. Full on map of the world of the Iron Kingdoms, which I like maps. I'm a map guy, so kind of cool. Anyway, the first thing I want to go into, I was lost when it came to the Iron Kingdoms and the lore that was all there. And the first, like, 30 odd pages right here. The first 33 pages of this book are literally, here's a little catch up of all the lore and everything. This is just a thing that it comes with it, which is a template for terrain for when you start. I hope that eventually this will be part of their 2-player starter guide, because it's amazing and it does what you need it to do, and it's awesome. But yeah, it'll get you caught up on the lore up until the point. It has all of the rules. It has faction highlights. My 10-year-old son started reading this thing and just went through it, freaking loved it. I'm not going to get into all of that stuff, but it has the rules as you would expect to find them, with beautiful artwork. The thing that I was super excited for was in the appendix. It has a breakdown of, come on, all of the icons. This was chef's kiss. I was so happy about this. Great book. Oh, and the other thing, the reason that I'm painting at all today is because, guess what? Right after you have the lore, you have this fantastic quick start guide that gets you through the entire thing. And I don't know if you recognize this fantastic guy, but he is the model that I decided that I was going to paint today, and it's not done, but we'll talk about why. Anyway, this rulebook, freaking amazing. It's fantastic. If you like rulebooks at all, this one hit all of the boxes for me. I was super happy with it. I love having something in my hand. With that being said, the rules in Warmachine are always changing. So yes, the rules in here are, you know, the basic rules that you're going to go into, but is there a chance of it changing? Yes. I mean, they have them for free on the app if you want them, but if you're trying to get somebody into the game, I love having this to just kind of open up and be like, all right, let's do this. And the quick start is no joke. A step-by-step start out for the two factions, the Khador faction versus the Signar faction, that is the 2-player box set, and it literally walks you through like the first turn, what to do, how to fight, how to roll, and it's fantastic. So if you're looking for an easy way to explain with pictures and things like that, the core rulebook is a great place to start. All right, and then once I have gone around and I have hit all of the green plates of armor and things like that I'm going to paint this way, including my fancy little helmet right there, I'm moving on to the secondary color. And if you can look from my warjack, I went with a dark green and then this kind of like sandy brown kind of thing. And so I'm going for that again. I do not remember how I did this in the first place, but we're gonna kind of go with our own thing here and go from these 3 colors is what we're gonna try. And this middle one's kind of the center of what we're going to be at, but we're going to go with bootstrap leather, Menoth white, and then finish it off with some jack bone. And again, the jack bone, don't know how much of this I'm going to use. It might be closer to just two-toning it, but I kind of liked how this looked, even though it's not a much brighter color. I like how it blends the 3 together. So let's see how it works. Okay, so after doing all of my brown trim with my 3 colors that I showed you, I was left with the guy looking like this. I grabbed my Guncore Brown and decided to do his backpack with that. I painted the little rockets with the same painting that I've done with everything, and I just kind of blended everything around, and I was super happy with how it turned out. And I decided, oh, you know, I'm going to make this rocket launcher Khador red, because why not? It's a freaking rocket launcher. Let's do it. And then I stopped. And the reason I stopped is because I really wanted to do like a cool OSL effect from the fire coming out of the rocket and out of the back of the gun. And that was then that I realized I'm not 100% sure how to do that. So this week I am going to teach myself how to do that and learn to do that. And if that's something you'd like to see, comment in the comments below and I will do a video on it. If nobody cares, then I'll just paint it and I'll upload pictures of him to my Instagram when he is completed. But I was super happy with how this guy turned out. And like I said, the whole reason I painted him was so that when I have a little bit of time this weekend, I can use that core rulebook to do the quick start guide, to play the game with the miniatures that I have painted. And no, they're not all done. I've got 4 or 5 still that need to be done. But my Black 13th models are all painted, and my Warjacks for both factions are mostly painted. Not all the way, but getting there. It's kind of crazy the difference you can tell between this one, when I didn't really know what I was doing, and this guy, who I was just starting to learn how to blend those beautiful colors and everything. So yeah, I'm learning. I'm getting better. And so, sadly, like I said, I am a failure this week in that I failed to complete the mini, but I did not fail to get a little bit better at painting, and I came up with an opportunity to become even better at that. I want to figure out how to do smoke and have that backlit like fire from inside the smoke, and maybe there isn't a way to do it. Maybe you can't do it without cotton balls and LED lights, but I'm gonna find out and I'm gonna try. And like I said, if that interests you, let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit that little bell button, and it'll notify you when I post content. And if it is something that you want to see, like I said, let me know and I'll do a video on it, because potentially it could be a really cool thing to learn or to use in the future. And hopefully I'll find videos on it. If not, I'll just be making it up on my own, and then I'll be the only video on it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, please like, subscribe, because at Polska Games I am all about becoming better, the journey to become better, and I would love to help you become a little bit better. And if you can help me become better, please tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I could do better, because I would love to hear it, and I respond to every comment that I get. So, as always, don't spend so much time building your world that you forget to spend some time in it. It's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. Make sure it is. Till next time.